In this video, I'm going to show you an exercise to help you improve your tone quality and gain more bow control. One of the most important factors to determine what kind of tone you make or how loudly you play is where exactly the hair contacts the string. Sometimes we call this the contact point. For my students, to help them know where to place the bow, I divide the string into lanes, into 5 lanes. So this would be lane 1, right at the edge of the fingerboard, lane 2, lane 3, lane 4, lane 5. So by lane 5, we're almost on the bridge. Lane 3 is right around in the middle. And of course, there are lots of lanes kind of in between. This wasn't my idea, but it's something that people in the Suzuki world, somebody came up with this, and I think it's a really helpful way to describe where you put your bow. When you're first starting out on the cello, most students will play like around lane 1 or even completely off the highway over the fingerboard here, because it's the easiest place to just make a decent sound. It's a very forgiving part of the cello to play on, and you don't have to work especially hard to make a sound here. But if you want to start making a more beautiful sound with more color, or making more volume and just have more variety of sounds, you have to start getting into the higher lanes. So as you get into higher lanes, or even the highest lanes, then the bow moves more slowly. You can get more overtones in the sound. So this is a slow bow exercise, and this can help you get better at being able to play in a higher lane. It just takes more control, but this will help you get that control. So here's how this works. To do this exercise, I could do it on any open string, but I like to do it on the open C string. So you're going to get pretty close to the bridge. Make sure your bow is nice and straight. I'm trying to make my bow really perpendicular to the string. I know in the video it looks like I'm kind of crooked, but that's just because of the angle that you're seeing it at. But it should be pretty much exactly a right angle from the string. Then I'm going to start moving the bow as slowly as I can while still really making it vibrate. So now I have to keep the bow moving exactly the same speed. If I slow down a little bit, it will stop. If I speed up like this, it will get fuzzy. I also have to keep my shoulder really, really relaxed. If I tighten up, the bow is going to stop. So I keep going all the way to the tip. If you notice that your bow is traveling closer to the bridge and getting fuzzy, it's very likely because your bow angle has moved up too much with the tip pointing down. Likewise, if you find yourself drifting away from the bridge, your angle is probably too much this way. If you're really keeping exactly the right angle, you should stay right in the same place. So you're going to try to get all the way to the tip. Now at this point, the weight on your first finger should have stayed pretty much the same, the feeling of the first finger on the stick. However, the thumb, when you get to this point, is working a lot harder than it was back here. So you're going to get to the tip. You're going to have a very strong thumb. And the other thing that's going to happen by now is your shoulder has come up. It's just a natural way that the body moves. The shoulder will have come up a little bit. It's very important that you also do the up bow. It's really crucial that you do the up bow. Try, if you can, to make a bow change. So get to the tip and change bows. If you have trouble with the bow getting stuck there, don't worry about it too much. You can even just give a little bit of a pluck to the string to get it going again if you need to. Now, on the up bow, it's really important that your shoulder begins to drop back down as you get back to the frog. When I practice, I'm not usually talking while I'm doing it, and if I'm really completely focused, I try to get even closer. I'm not going to go all the way to the tip because you don't need to really watch that. But that's the basic idea of this. After you do this exercise, I'd maybe just do once, maybe twice, back and forth. Then just move away from the bridge and just try to get the string really ringing. Just feel how much more sensitivity you have to get the string really, really ringing. Maybe other strings as well. I wouldn't do this as a warm-up, like first thing when you take your cello out. It just requires a lot of sensitivity in your hand, and it can also make you kind of tense if you start doing this. So I would warm up a little bit, do a scale, stretch your shoulder out before you do this so that everything's nice and loose, because it's very crucial that the shoulder stays loose. When you first start doing this, if you've never done this kind of exercise before, you have to be patient with yourself. You're probably not going to be able to get quite as close to the bridge as I was in this video. And you just got to find the place that you can go where it challenges you, but that you can still do it. And just keep practicing it. And the more you do it, you'll get better at it. The whole idea is just to improve your bow control and your tone, not just to be able to play that close or that with that slow a bow in itself. If you start having any pain in your shoulder especially, then you're squeezing too much and you just need to back off a little bit. Maybe stretch out a little bit more, maybe move a little bit away from the bridge. But if you're feeling pain, you definitely should stop because you can hurt yourself. A little bit more about the shoulder issue, because this is something that cellists really have to deal with in all of our playing, is the tendency to have the shoulder come up, which is natural, but then the shoulder not coming back down again, which is strange because in real life, if you were to reach out and pick up a glass, for example, and then bring it back, you would naturally bring your arm down. You wouldn't go out and then come back like this. But for some reason, when we play the cello, maybe because the weight on our fingers or just because we're focused on other things, that can be a habit that happens. And you got to watch out for it in this exercise, because that leaving the shoulder up can cause damage to your shoulder. Likewise, don't push your shoulder down. It just has to go down. You might try exhaling as you start to get back to the frog to make sure your shoulder goes down. I wanted to mention that I first encountered this exercise when I was a student in Cincinnati, and the great Canadian cellist Zara Nelsova was teaching there, and she would teach this exercise. And so I have a video on my Great Cellists playlist of her playing Shlomo with Leonard Bernstein conducting, and I'll put a link in the comments for you to watch, because there's a great example of somebody who could get really close to the bridge and really control the sound. Sometimes I'm almost feeling like one hair is actually touching the wood. I'm not sure if that's true, but it looks like it in the video. But she played with a beautiful, enormous, beautiful sound. So that's worth checking out. So I hope you find this exercise useful. It's like a once a day or even once or twice a week kind of exercise that can really help you get a little bit more tone and bow control.